Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the NetSuite Podcast SuiteWorld edition here at SuiteWorld 2025. I'm your host, Tori Youngblood, and I am joined by Cymbiotika CFO Kimberlee Duval and our own NetSuite SVP of Growth Strategy and Execution, Sam Levy. We will be diving into the keynote that just happened and hearing more about strategies that scale and the discussion they had up on stage. But first, a word from our sponsors. Managing tax in NetSuite doesn't have to slow you down. With Avalara, it doesn't. Avalara brings AI-powered tax automation directly into NetSuite, so every calculation, exemption, and return is accurate, audible, and effortless. With intelligent automation woven into every touch point in the compliance journey, Avalara's agentic tax and compliance detects issues, resolves them, and helps you stay ahead of constant rule changes. With over 4,200 NetSuite customers and over 1,400 signed partner integrations, Avalara delivers trusted, regulator-ready compliance at scale. Make sure to check out Avalara. Sync, match, pay, reconcile, all in record time with NetSuite plus Bill. Bill's two-way integration with NetSuite means every invoice, payment, or update you make in Bill is mirrored in NetSuite and vice versa. It doesn't get better than that. No lag and no double entry, just efficient, accurate AP, AR, expense management, and more. So check out Bill today. And thank you, Avalara, and thank you, Bill. And thank you, Sam and Kimberlee, once again, for being on the NetSuite podcast. How are you both feeling post-keynote?
Energized. The keynotes are always inspiring. Seeing how far NetSuite has come and continues to evolve alongside businesses like ours is just incredible.
You know, it is always exciting to hear of the stories from their voices versus someone else's, and I think that's what we get out of that keynote is we get to interview some great brands running NetSuite, and Cymbiotica was one of those, but I think overall just fantastic information that was just shared across the ecosystem.
Yeah, really incredible stories. And I'm also feeling energized because of all the announcements that happened today. But I have also been trying some of these Cymbiotika supplements between interviews. And so we actually have some here. We have an assortment. I thought we could kind of test them out while we chat. So for everyone at home who's listening, we have the Golden Mind for brain health. This is the one I feel like I need the most today.
That is the go-to for the afternoon pickup, I tell you.
It is, okay.
It does? It sharpens you up for the afternoon?
It does.
Wow.
Good to know. We have the glutathione, which I believe this is someone's favorite here on this podcast.
Can't say that I don't take it every night. Maybe take it every morning, every now and then. But yes, that is one of my faves.
Awesome. We loyal fan over here, Kimberlee.
Yeah.
We also have vitamin C, which is very popular. I have seen this one on social media. You really can't scroll without seeing both the glutathione and the vitamin C, I feel like, are both very popular. We have a magnesium complex, which I hear will actually be handing this one out after the party on Wednesday night as a little recovery cure for our attendees who might have a little too much fun.
Yes, it's a great one. It not only relaxes your body, your mind, your soul, but it has a lot of nutrients in it, so you're doing something really good for yourself at the same time. And it's just a 5 mLs. Like, it's very easy. Just drink it on the go. That's it.
Easy,
done.
breezy.
Exactly.
We
Just
love that.
health doesn't need to be a task.
That is one thing that you've done really well is make it easy on the go. Because sometimes you get something that's a drink and you got to have it refrigerated and
the powders, and you got to mix it. Yes.
Yeah, you can just really stick these in your pocket and like you said, to go. So we have elderberry here, which is immune support, which is also really great to have at an event like this. And then this is Fritz's favorite, my co-host, who I was chatting with earlier. He loves the liquid colostrum.
I take it every morning in my coffee. It is an absolute go-to.
That's what we were saying as well. So there you go, folks. Lots of great things. Sam, I'm going to throw you a glutathione.
Love it.
Power up. Kimberlee, which one would you like?
Oh, the Golden Mind.
How did I know?
I got a full day still.
That's right. All right. Cheers, Kimberlee and Sam. So, Kimberlee, we are going to dive into the Cymbiotika story because it really is an incredible one. But first, Sam, your keynote, strategies to scale. I'll let you finish this I think, before I asked
I got
the
every
question.
little bit of that was on there.
Good man, good man.
Why was this keynote so important? Why was this subject matter so important? And it was really diving into the barriers of growth that our customers might face when they are trying to scale their companies. We heard lots of different stories from a variety of businesses, but in your words, why was this important to talk about today?
You know, every business today has challenges, and one of the things that's erupting over and over and being asked by executives or boards and even employees is this AI mindset. But I think from an executive view, the challenges today are we have to still grow. And boards will accept that we'll put a growth plan in front of them. What they're not able to deliver with it, though, is more money to grow. And so they accept your growth plan and they say you have to self-fund it.
Yeah.
And
They
that's
don't-
the hard piece of
Absolutely
it, I think.
true.
But
You don't
100%.
just get blank checks?
Yeah, it's
weird.
real crazy, but
Huh.
no.
so
all
if
this
you have to
time, I
self-fund
thought
it, that's the real head scratcher is tell me what's coming before it comes. And so as you come to the board, and these are businesses that are operating plans versus the financial metrics, but the self-operating plan becomes you have to fund it. And so you have to really think of this from the CFO's lens and the executive lens of if I have to self-fund it, I can look at a balance sheet, I can look at an income statement and say where I'm going to potentially pull levers. But that's a spreadsheet exercise,
It really is.
right? Versus like this operating exercise.
Exactly. It's got to be actionable. How do I do something right now, not 3 months from now?
And that's why I think it becomes important because this is real what's going on today in every boardroom. And I think for the foreseeable future, and they want to know is what we were doing before is adding headcount and scalable growth. And now they're saying, well, you can continue to grow, but you're not getting the headcount, you're not getting the investment. So you need to take the dollars that you have and have some, what I call this multiplier effect of, is AI going to be that multiplier? And it will assist, it won't do everything for you, but it's going to assist, I think. And that's the lever that we want businesses thinking about is if your business partner isn't providing some insights and intelligence to help you have those levers, then I don't think you're a good business partner. And that's one of the things that we are really trying to drive home.
And so why did you choose Cymbiotica as one of the stories to feature in your keynote?
I mean, when you think of, well, first off, Cymbiotica as a company and being a brand that I was using for a long time, not even knowing that they were a NetSuite customer. And then I got introduced to Kimberly and hear the stories about how they're transforming the organization and scaling. To me, it encapsulates so much that we talk about in our go-to-market and within our customer bases. I love the stories of complex operations and they try to simplify it and they work and they scale. And so this was purely about shining a light on Cymbiotica and how they've achieved both. They've achieved the scale, they're achieving the insights they want, and that's the powerful message that we want to share with everyone is they're doing it.
Which leads me to you, Kimberly. Can we hear a little bit more about Cymbiotica? Tell us about the company, what your mission is, what you're hoping people should know.
Well, Cymbiotica is a wellness company first. We're rooted in the belief that health should be proactive, not reactive, hence the travel, right? We create premium supplements, lifestyle products that are designed to empower people to take control of their well-being, not just their health.
And so I mentioned this a little earlier, but you can't really scroll social media, TikTok, without running into Cymbiotica and seeing people trying their supplements. And they're so popular, again, for the ease of use, but also the really clean ingredients and the process that you take to create these products. And so what is the secret to that explosive popularity that the brand experienced?
Authenticity and innovation. We've built a brand that resonates with people, but staying true to our values, listening to our community, and delivering products with genuinely improved lives. I think at the end of the day, it's really having that connection with our customers to understand what they want, but more importantly, why. And then finding a way to deliver something really great for them at a price point and in a way that's accessible and easy to do. It's not a fight to be able to figure out how to put it in your routine.
And So, listeners know, Kimberly and I actually met before this. We met this past Sunday here in Vegas to celebrate Cymbiotica's new wellness bar, which was really cool. I think we tried every smoothie on the menu. It was amazing. But during that tour that you gave us, you also had some exciting news for us. Do you wanna do the honors?
You know what? I would love to. I'm very excited about this. We just launched this week in Target nationwide, all 1,988 stores. We also have an extra benefit that Sprouts, who started with us in Q1 of last year, is now expanding exponentially our shelf space, and so we are going to have our new vitamin B and vitamin D on shelf exclusively with them for the next couple of months as we bring it to market.
Wow, big congratulations.
That is so
there.
great to hear.
That is huge news. And so, what was that process like of getting the products in Target and really retail as a whole? Because you've expanded, which we're going to get into in a little bit. But what was that process like, and what role did finance play in it?
Well, aside from being a huge milestone, it was an incredible cross-functional alignment requirement. From a finance perspective, it meant building robust forecasting models, ensuring our supply chain readiness, aligning our pricing and margin strategies. It was a true team effort, and seeing our products on the shelves is incredibly rewarding. But I think the biggest thing that we came out of this was that we really amplified where we still have some gaps and how we need to be thinking about the future. D2C is a very different model than retail. The expectations from retailers are very, very different. And so bringing those two very kind of converse methodologies and workflows, really bringing us to the next step, which was a big part of why it was so important for us to be at SuiteWorld this year, to bring a bunch of our team members so that they could become subject matter experts.
Well, once again, we're so happy you are here at SuiteWorld, but that leads me into my next question. What are the unique challenges that a health and wellness brand like Cymbiotica face, and how have you kind of navigated those challenges?
Scaling while maintaining quality and authenticity. We deal with complex supply chains, global ingredient sourcing, high customer expectations, managing the inventory, forecasting that demand, and staying agile while marketing. And staying true to our values is a constant balancing act. Staying agile and data-driven is the key. And that's where NetSuite helps us every day.
That is music to our ears
Yes.
here. And Sam, you work with a lot of customers. Is this pretty consistent with what you hear from other customers, health and wellness brands that we work with? In your view, what are some of the biggest challenges that brands like this face?
Yeah, I mean, it is very common when you go into this multi-channel effect because it's completely different. From the shopping experience is different, and that's just from the consumer side of it, the way you market to them and co-browse and all that piece of it. And there's loyalty that comes along with that. When you get into retail, though, there's a whole different segment that I hear from, where if you're direct to consumer and I go on your webpage and buy something, it's a quick checkout process and pretty easy. If you're retail, though, what I hear from most businesses, they want the exposure of thousands of stores. However, if you don't have the right planning and the mechanism to look at data, you're in trouble. Because if you have stockouts or chargebacks, or you send the wrong SKUs to the wrong place, you have limited chance to screw it up without big consequences. So it is that moment where people start to mature as businesses. And what I hear is, are we ready for retail? And it scratches your head and, are your investors ready for it? Is the organization, and organization being your employees, and your organization readiness as far as can you fulfill it from your supply chain? Because if you miss the targets, or if you miss the fulfillment orders, the consequences are pretty significant.
Oh, for sure. I think that's hitting the nail right on the head. The opportunity for failure is far greater than the opportunity for success. And your partnerships, your tools, your humans that are participating and supporting that, absolutely vital. Cannot do it without them. And they have to be as invested as you are in order to be able to really have that success.
Yeah, that is the common theme is we want it, we want the exponential growth, but we don't think there's that much downside or understand the downside. And just be exposed to it so that you have a plan if you run into it. I think that is the common issue that I hear of getting into that. And sometimes you go in both avenues and you say that wasn't for me, and you see your number of brands of wow, this was on the shelf one day and now they went direct to consumer, or they went direct to consumer and closed it down and went only to retail. So it's a little bit of both, but there is definitely this blending that happens.
And so, Kimberly, you've done 12 NetSuite implementations over the course of your career, which I think qualifies you for some kind of prize at this point. I think.
I don't even know if we need to have we just call it the Kimberly Award, right? It's like, what is the Kimberly Award? Well, it's once you get through 12, you kind of get the Kimberly Award, right?
You get a little badge with Kimberly's headshot on it.
You learn a lot about what not to do in the first few, believe me.
Yeah, you're definitely a veteran and expert. So I think both of you are great people to answer this question. And for our listeners out there who may be looking to implement technology, maybe looking to ERP, what is some advice that you can give them?
You want me to start on this one?
Sure.
Well, the mindset of changing systems is quite different than it was a decade ago. And today, I think a lot of people are curious to change, but perhaps not committed to it. Meaning, I think we need to grow. We're growing, and we're getting more complex. We've got more bespoke systems or processes. But one of the challenges, I think, for most businesses as you look to mature and come to a formalized suite is it drives discipline and maturity. And it starts to break down your data and your processes. So if the advice I tell people is, it's not about understanding everything up front, but understand what it's going to take to be successful. If you think you're going to just purchase a new system and not do the work, you're not going to get the results. This is like going
garbage in, garbage out.
This is like going to the gym, right? It's like, oh, I think I should lose 10 pounds. And, okay, great. Well, I think I can just show up one day and not follow through. In sports, it's like a golfer. If I sit on the tee box and I call my shot and say I'm going to hit it on the hole and this, I'll be a hole in one, and I don't follow through my swing, I'm in the woods, right? I'm in the bunker or whatever it might be. And so I think in business, you got to call your shot and you got to follow through. And I think it's the expectation and the planning that's going to take to make it successful.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And for me, I'm a measure twice, cut once girl. So it comes down to really being clear. What is this tool intended to do? And it's not just about today's pain points and issues. Really, it's about what's coming up. Because the decision you make on something as simple as, am I going to use locations? Am I using bins? Am I, one world versus, these are important decisions. And if you really don't have clarity about where your business is going, you're going to end up either switching tools later, doing a bunch of rework later. So, it's the penny wise, pound foolish, right? Invest now. Make sure you're really clear. Have very good technical partners. Make sure that you are bringing a cross-functional team together so that you ensure adoption, you ensure training, and you ensure that ultimately it is something that people can be empowered with in those new tools, that they understand the accountability that they have to support the implementation.
This would be good, and I'm sure you can share some feedback here is, in doing that process of maturity or changing systems, it requires dedicated people to get the dedicated results. And so a lot of people, it's like going back to the gym. If you're not dedicated, you're just not going to get it. But these are resource-intensive projects for some period of time. And the best companies find a leader that drives it, lives it every day until you get to that operational maturity with the implementation.
And to your point, a good implementation, especially if you're converting from a system, you're not just we're starting business day one, right? It takes time, not just to put it together and implement, but to really get the efficiencies and effectiveness out of it. And I think a lot of people have a tendency to think, oh, it's got to be immediate, right? And it's not. but you get out of it what you put into it.
Right.
And so at what point did you know Cymbiotica was ready to implement NetSuite? What were some of the signs? What was that process?
Oh, we outpaced our old system in a moment. We had systems that were just disparate. There was no workflows between. The ability to make an educated decision was very difficult, very time consuming, and even with the data that we did have, it wasn't clear that it was accurate. So ultimately, as we saw that 100 million mark on revenue was coming, and that we had the real desire to move into retail at some point, we knew we had to move quickly. And NetSuite is a no-brainer in my opinion, given the number of times I've implemented
because we have badges with your face on them now. Yes.
The Kimberly version.
Yeah.
The Kimberly SKU, I should call it, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of companies, they just try to Band-Aid. Oh, we can get through a little bit longer. We can do this. We can do that. It's the workarounds as opposed to the investment to really drive. I don't have to have a team of 15 or 20 people at $150 million. I have an incredible team of 6 with a NetSuite admin and a data person that really drives my day-to-day as the hub of our wheel that we call Cymbiotica. And it's all because we've got very good tools that support us in our growth and what and how we should be looking to do what's next to help us continue to build that efficiency rather than just throwing bodies at it.
So earlier we mentioned that you moved from primarily D2C into retail, which is a huge step. What motivated that choice? And you touched on this a little bit, but second part of the question, how has NetSuite helped support this choice ultimately?
Well, we just wouldn't have been able to do it without NetSuite, I'll tell you that right now. Ultimately, from a workflow, data, ability to make decisions, forecast planning, demand planning, even something as simple as procurement, supply management, all of that is possible with NetSuite. And, you don't have to spend and do everything at once. I really do believe that layering on the modules and the workflows as you get some experience and as you start to really understand how powerful the tool can be is a big part of that. I think a lot of companies just dive head in like, we want it all. And then they're wondering why 2 years later they don't have it all working. Well, because you can't. There's so much. And as people start to learn that, ultimately for us, it made it very easy because we knew we had a dependable partner. We knew that we would be able to use our ACS team. We would be able to use our Oracle, NetSuite sales team and experts to help us to drive, to make good decisions so that as we started to move forward and implement, we were covered.
And you touched on this as well, but I want to dive a little deeper. What are some specific pain points in this process of moving from D2C to retail that NetSuite has helped alleviate?
Oh. Well, as a great example, before we moved to NetSuite, we were using a app for procurement. So no one had any idea what purchase orders were out in the world.
Oh.
Yeah, it made it really easy to manage cash, really easy to manage inventory. We had a lot of systems and spreadsheets and knowledge in people's heads. And a way to disperse that, to make it usable and actionable, just really didn't exist. And even as we implemented NetSuite, we started in a staged approach. We started with Shopify, and we learned quickly, oh no, we didn't buy the right software. We didn't have enough. And so we were immediately and we had a great team that jumped right in and was able to really assess immediately, got us corrected and on our way. And then we added the rest of the stores, and I wouldn't say seamless sense, but it's been pretty darn close. And I think a lot of that has to do with, again, great partnerships, the ACS team. Matthew's my guy. Like, I never want to work with another PM again. Like, he's so great. And just being able to bring all of that together to help us understand, is it a pain point Or is it an SOP? Is it a technology, right? And really driving into those details and asking the right questions, because not all of our issues were system. Some of them were just good old SOPs that needed to be put in place.
That's a good one. You probably could add in here, but I constantly hear companies saying they want to come and get a new ERP, and they want to do it, or their claim is I can put a new ERP in 5 days or 10 days. And I laugh
Kimberly's cracking up off camera if you...
Okay, because this is like the reality that we're hearing today, and we see these pull-up banners that says, come to a new ERP and we'll convert you in 3 days. And I think about the standard operating procedure of, what are your SOPs? Large part is businesses operate because they're flexible, or they're spreadsheets, whatever it might be. And then you ask them to document that process for scale, and they all look at you like, well, which process do you want? Do you want Sam's version? Do you want Kimberly's versions? Do you want Tori's version? And we all do the same job, but we're doing it 3 different ways.
Exactly.
And so you have to let some maturation happen during the implementation to get the benefit.
Well, 100%. And I think that that's another key point, right? Which is, it's that clarity, that measure twice. What are you trying to achieve? And is everybody on the same page? Are we really like locked arms and moving forward in the same direction? Because you have to have that consensus, and it cannot just be from the task person. It's got to be up and sideways, because everything that they do, or you're asking them to do differently because of a new system or a new workflow or et cetera, means that they've got to be involved. There's got to be some ownership and accountability across, or it's not going to work. And then you're going to be wondering, how come 5 days wasn't enough to do my...
I can do a lot in 5 days. I don't know if I can do that one in 5 days.
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah.
And the other side of it, equally important, is if once you get through that chasm of transferring and converting to a system, and let's say it's a 3 or 6 or 9 month project, you have to be able to retire the old assets. Because if you don't, it becomes this tech junk drawer that you have of, wow, we got all these different things. It's like opening my drawer at home and I see everything that I don't need in the drawer. Just
all the old cell phones.
And but I must
phone
keep
chargers.
it. And I just got to turn on every now and then. I'm thinking this from businesses, and I talk to CFOs and CEOs is, what did you retire? What's the number of systems? And let's see if we can retire some of that. And it's financially, but it's removing the crutch so that you can get the automation.
Well, I will tell you, I was in consulting for a long time, which helped me to do so many implementations. And one of my biggest things was, if you're going to do this, you have to have a plan that you've got to stick to relative to exactly that. You're not going to crutch. You're making the move. We're going to do everything that we need to make that move as smooth and successful as possible. But ultimately, you're done.
Well, this has been an incredible conversation. I think we could just keep going on and on. You both are amazing. So thanks so much for being on the NetSuite podcast. But it's not over yet. I have a surprise.
Oh.
We have this little thing that we do on the NetSuite podcast that is the lightning suite, which is essentially putting you both in the hot seat for a little lightning.
We haven't had enough of that all day today. We got to do a little more.
You need more pressure on you.
Lightning suite. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So, Kimberly, for you first, what is the first app you open in the morning?
Oh, NetSuite never closes. I literally have to log back in the morning because I get timed out, because it is when I go to bed and when I back up.
we didn't even tell her to say that.
Wow.
That was great.
Yeah.
And coffee or tea?
Coffee in the morning with my colostrum, my Shilajit tea in the afternoon, because you must be balanced.
You must be balanced. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl. The world is much better when it's quiet and I get to think.
What about you, Sam? Early bird?
Welcome to Vegas, right? You're like, okay.
That's why she has so many golden brain supplements in her bag.
All figured out, right?
Sam, what about you? Early bird or night owl?
I'm definitely an early bird, unless I'm in Vegas. Let's put it that way. I definitely like to get my sleep early when I'm at home and rise early with the sun. But if in Vegas, I think you at least...
You morph into an owl when you're in Vegas.
Definitely do that.
Yeah. What is the best piece of advice, Sam, that you've received throughout your career?
That's a big one. I would probably say it this way, is challenge the status quo. And I say that in the sense of not questioning every new job or advice you get, but if everyone's doing it, what makes you different? And I've always kind of felt that I don't want to be like everyone else. I want to learn from everybody else, but yet be effective or different. And so I generally look at challenge. I would tell people is challenging the status quo, of looking at a problem or a piece of information and saying, how could I do it better? And that's generally my mindset. If it's not challenging enough for me, I'm just generally not interested. It's like, it's boring. So that's how I look at it.
What is the first app you open in the morning?
Messages, for sure. It's text messages. Like, why do I wake up with 16 text messages when I just went to sleep 7 hours ago or something, right? And it's like, wow, what is going on?
The world never sleeps, that's why.
And it's a lot of nuisance, right? Now, there might be advertisement in there, but it's generally like texts from my kids or somebody else out there, right? Of things going on overnight. And like, oh gosh. But I've learned this new feature.
Oh.
How to silence your phone.
Oh, you just now learned that.
Yeah, well, there's this new
Do
profiles,
not
whatever.
disturb.
Yeah, do not disturb, basically. That's the one. So I used to let it go all night, but now I'm just like, I need my sleep.
That is wild.
Yeah.
You just left your phone on,
I
not
leave
on,
it
do
on.
not just.
Yeah,
wow.
I just leave it on all night.
You live on the edge, Sam. You
Not
live on the
anymore, though.
edge.
Now I know how to
Do you
turn.
silence it?
And you know what? Generally, people text me in the morning, or they try to call me and it doesn't answer, and they send me an email saying your phone is on do not disturb because I can't get a hold of you. So they're using the old way of getting a hold of me to turn off my phone. So that's sometimes really
That's
good.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Sam's a popular guy, apparently. Well, thank you both again for being on the NetSuite Podcast, SuiteWorld edition here at SuiteWorld 2025. And for all of our listeners who may be tuning in on YouTube, make sure to head over to our on-air virtual program. It's free. Doesn't get better than that. And you can catch all the keynotes on demand. Evan Goldberg's this morning, Sam Levy's this afternoon, and the product keynote happening tomorrow with Gary Wiesinger and Brian Chess. We will be right back here later this afternoon to talk to the Savannah Bananas CFO Tim Natty and CFO Alliance Nick Errico. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening.